So WrestleMania 19 rhetorical analysis. Booker T, Triple H, obviously crazy promos back and forth there.
Yes, it was. I remembered that at the time, but I had really forgotten about it until I went back and, writing this book, it kind of made me think about, okay, that whole power structure, the whole Monday Night War and everything. And when I looked at that, it made me go back and look at that promo, and I saw the audience and, some of the things that Triple H said, and it's like, oh, the audience sort of cringed when he, talked about Booker T with your nappy hair and like, whoa, it's like you went a little too far with that. And that's really what I think happened. I don't think he was trying to attack Booker T per se. I think he was going after the WCW champion. It was because we're the WWF or WWE. We beat you guys in the Monday Night War. We're better than you. And I think he just got caught up in the moment and took it a little too far. And not saying that's acceptable.
Sure.
But...
And the thing that's crazy too about the whole thing is if Triple H is going to do that and all that other stuff and do that promo, you think that Booker T is going to end up winning the match at WrestleMania 19, not losing too. So that it kind of adds to it as well, because it's like, man, he should have won.
Right. That was, and I think that's what really made, people even more angry about it, because now he was supposed to win the match if he's going to get insulted like that. And just it went personal. And I really think that it was really trying to be an attack on the company, trying to say that we're better than WCW and you represent WCW. And, what made it even kind of worse in a sense was having Ric Flair come out with Triple H. It's almost like he's endorsing what he's saying. I kind of give Rick credit, like, okay, if that's the company, I have to do that. He didn't say anything. And so I appreciate Rick for that. He just kind of smiled and chuckled and laughed at Triple H, but he didn't say a word, because it's my opinion, but I really think it was an attack on the company WCW more so than Booker T. And I think Triple H just got caught up in the moment and went a little too far with it.
For sure. I just think that, wow, after all that, and Booker T kind of pumping himself up and he's going to prove himself, and then he just ends up losing at WrestleMania 19. That just always bothered me. It was just bad booking. I just thought it was a terrible decision. Booker T should have went over and won the title that night.
Yeah. And I think they should have felt the crowd and how the people reacted to that, and they didn't really like that. And even if it was scripted for Triple H to win, I think they should have changed it like The Rock did, because clearly The Rock was, when he came back as the final boss and him and Roman Reigns and Dustin, Rock was probably going to be the one to take the belt off of Roman Reigns, and they just saw the crowd and like, the people were really behind. Did I say Dustin? The people were really behind Cody, and so right. That's he changed up. That's what I think.
You got to do that. Yeah, you got to do that sometimes, and especially if everything is kind of like putting the guy down and like, oh, you got to prove yourself, and really making the baby face kind of come up from underneath. They should definitely win.
Right. That's usually the way that goes. When you beat down the baby face, the hero like that, and make them prove themselves, that's they're supposed to win.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy. Were you a big Booker T fan? Are you a big fan of him? Obviously, multi-time champion.
I loved Harlem Heat. Yes, definitely. Booker T, I really enjoyed watching him, and certainly Stevie Ray as well. But Booker T was Booker T was the real showman of the group, and I know Stevie Ray will probably get on me about that because me and Stevie are pretty tight. So he's gonna give me a jab about that. But yeah, I mean, Booker T definitely deserved it, and I think even the shoot that Vince Russo did at the time, I think he was on point when he was talking about how people like Booker T had been, hard workers like him had been really held down and really not given that opportunity. And yeah, I think he really deserved it. He fought hard for it, and he deserved it.
And apparently, as he has said, Russo, he had a meeting backstage. He asked all the guys in the writing team, who deserves it the most? Who do you think should be champion? And they all unanimously voted for Booker T. They thought he should be the world champion. So not only Russo thought that, everyone behind the scenes thought that he should be the world champion.
Right. And that's the way the business should be. I mean, especially if it's not a pure athletic competition, it's going to be scripted. So you need to follow the will of the people. If everybody backstage likes him and the audience likes Booker T, that's who should be the champion.
When you're looking at Harlem Heat, one of the greatest tag teams of all time, definitely you could say, argument, definitely the best WCW tag team of all time, right? Harlem Heat?
Yes. I mean, because they fought the best of the best. They fought the Steiner brothers. They fought Sting and Luger. They fought the Outsiders. Ming and Barbarian. They fought Stars and Stripes, the best of the best. So, yeah.
Public Enemy, the American Males, the Stud Staple. Yeah, they beat them all. Nasty Boys.
Right. I mean, so, that 10-time WCW Tag Team Champions was not a fluke. I mean, they deserved it.
Yeah, they were awesome and just had a look about them. They had everything. They just were the complete package as a team. You had like the power guy, you had the speed guy. I mean, they were like a perfect unit.
That's true. And the thing about them, in my opinion, that really kept them together and to make that reign last so long was because those two were brothers. Unlike the first black tag team champion, the Soul Patrol, Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson, did not get along. So their reign lasted probably like a little over a year. I think they had maybe 2 title defenses, one successful defense against the Wild Samoans, who they took the belt from, and then they lost it in the next the next title defense. I forget who that was against, but yeah, I mean, it was and I think that was part of the problem. Even the same issue with Doom, Ron Simmons and Butch Reed, because Butch Reed, I don't think Butch Reed really liked anybody. He's just, he was a heel, and he was just going to be a heel all the way. I remember seeing Teddy Long talking about Butch, and he saw Butch one day, and Butch is on the phone, and him and his wife just cussing each other out. I mean, so that seemed to be, Butch is just not gonna, he's not gonna be friends with anybody for long, the way it seemed.
I believe, if I remember correctly, they lost to Adonis and Murdoch, maybe, as far as the tag titles are concerned at WWF, if I'm remembering correctly.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, that is funny. They really could have been, and maybe should have been, tag team champions for longer, but they just hated each other, right? I mean, that's kind of the essence of it. They couldn't get along.
Right. I mean, when they're two good wrestlers, 2 good performers, you put them together, and it just always doesn't work. With Booker T and Stevie Ray, because they're brothers, they can have their differences, but they're not gonna be at odds with each other. Then we're 2 brothers, so we love each other, through thick and thin. But 2 other people who don't have that connection, if they don't really like each other personally, or whatever, there's the championship, the tag team is just not going to last.
when you're looking at obviously Rocky Johnson, Tony Atlas, guys that are just, legendary guys, couldn't get along. Booker T and Steve, you were talking about, great legendary guys. They did get along as far as Harlem Heat were concerned and tag team champs. What about just some of the other guys as far as like New Day? Obviously, Big E is not getting along with some of them. What about some of the current guys that you've obviously focused on as well in the book?
Yes, in Big E, it seems like I think he's got a legitimate injury now. That neck injury is it's just sidelined him, I think, permanently. So I mean that's really sort of tragic. I hate that because he was the power guy of the whole New Day unit, and I like the whole Freebird rule concept that they use, that any two of them could defend the belt at any time. So yeah, I think and that was a part of
it. Is funny too.
Gimmick. It is
funny too that you pull that out. Yeah.
Right. That was really great. And it looks like
and obviously I'm sorry, I think still my connection may be still a little weak because of the storm. But I was thinking the same thing with over in AEW, the Acclaim with Billy Gunn. But I know Billy Gunn comes in sometimes. I know with the Trios Championship, he was the Trios champion with the other two guys. And I don't remember if they actually used the Freebird rule or not. I don't know if they did or not in AEW, but I just love that concept of the Freebird rule. Love that the New Day brought it back. But even obviously Kofi, a world champion in his own right. So Kofi and Big E, two guys, both in the New Day, both world heavyweight champions.
Yes. And recently, the third guy, Xavier Woods, I believe he won the King of the Ring. So he's got a little singles glory, if you will, on his own.
Yes, it's true. King of the Ring, never world champion, but maybe, who knows? After this run is they're heels now, but maybe after this run, who knows? Woods is destined for a world title push. That would be interesting if all three guys would end up winning the world title out of a faction, out of a group. That's not really something that usually happens.
Right. I don't think that's happened at all. Yeah. That would be pretty interesting. Yeah, and they're still one of the most entertaining groups.
So if you can, give us a big push for the book, just where everybody can get it, but why everybody should want to read it, and who's kind of included in the book.
Yes, I do have the section on the Trailblazers. I've got we talked about it earlier. Ethel Johnson is in there, and she was a world tag team champion. I also have two ladies that I did not have in the last edition of the book. Layla L., who was with Lay Cool, and Vix Crow, who was known as Alicia Fox at the time, because she had the Divas Championship, and it's not really fair to not recognize that particular championship just because it's a Divas Championship, but that was a respected women's title at the time. So yeah, those two ladies are included in this edition, and that's one of the new features in here. And Layla, I'm still trying to reach out to Layla, because what's interesting about her is that she is still actually the lineal WWE champion. She's still the last person to hold that original WWE title, which really goes all the way back to Fabulous Moolah and Mildred Burke. So, they really should try to get Layla back in the ring, because she has that claim to fame that she is the lineal title holder, and no one actually took that belt from her. They just created another women's title and sort of retired that one. And that was one of the issues with the entire women not really being included as much the first time, because WWE, it seems like they haven't made up their minds about the titles that they have and the titles that they want to have. Sasha Banks had a title. Bianca Belair had a title. Naomi had one, but they were calling them like, this is the Raw Women's Champion, and this one is the SmackDown Women's Champion. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, who is the WWE Women's Champion? There can only be one champion. I'm looking at those titles like, this is the United States title, which is the next step up to the world title, or the Intercontinental Championship, which is the step up to that world title. And then they turned around and like, oh, okay, well, yeah, we respect both of them as world titles. Like, wait a minute. And even same on the men's side, when Roman Reigns had the WWE title, and then he won the Universal Championship. So then he became the undisputed Universal Champion. And while he's the undisputed Universal Champion, they create something called a World Heavyweight Championship. Who is your champion? Like, come on, WWE. You're blurring your own lines here. We don't know who's the champion. And so that was a little frustrating until they just, okay, well, yeah, we recognize the WWE title and the World Heavyweight title as world titles. Same on the women's side. And with that, I am actually glad that they do have a women's WWE women's title and a women's World Heavyweight title as well.
It's true. And if you look at it now, Naomi, the world champion for WWE.
Yes, and I actually do have her in here. She wasn't the world champ.
Yeah, she was SmackDown, right?
Right, and my book was finished before she, was already impressed by the time she won this one. But she's actually in there twice. Same with Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, because Mercedes is in there as an individual title holder, and also a tag team title holder, and as with Naomi, as well as Bianca Belair, who's also in there as a singles title holder and as a tag team with Jade Cargill and Naomi. And the WWE considers that as one title reign. So that was almost kind of like a Freebird rule that took place on their side as well.
Very close to it.
Yeah,
love that. Jade could be added to the next book here pretty soon if she ends up winning the world title.
That is possible, and I'm if I do another one, I'm kind of thinking that, wow, this is it's certainly ongoing, and I don't know if I don't know how long I'm going to continue with it actually in book form. I may continue it, but I'll probably still continue writing about it. At least at this point, I don't know if I'm going to go with the book form at first, because it was just really designed to just give that praise to the athletes that wasn't there. You know, my brother, when he first wrote The Black Stars of Professional Wrestling back in 1999, there was the information wasn't there, and it was obscure. You know, it was hidden. It was there. People knew, but it was kind of hidden. And so he was putting that information out there. But now we've got all of these people writing about it in podcasts, and you know, it's a lot of, you know, podcasts that are focused specifically on black wrestling and black wrestlers now, which is a good thing. So and you know, my brother would really be pleased about that. That a lot of people are showing love to the black wrestlers these days.
True. Now, where can everybody find and get the book? Where can everybody get the third edition of the Black World Champions?
It is available worldwide online, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. But you can also go to my website, which is davidlshabazz.com. And my last name is, well, it's on the screen, Shabazz. So just put the L in there. davidlshabazz.com is my website.
Awesome stuff. I think everybody should get there and get the Black World Champions, the third edition, the new book. David, thank you so much for all the time tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate it again. It's been great. And you will definitely be among the first people I contact if I decide to put out a fourth edition.
Awesome. Thank you, David. Appreciate it.